recorded live right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's time again for Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. And now here's Larry.
Hey, folks, welcome back. We're going to jump right into this episode. It is our privilege and honor to have the Attorney General of Arkansas, Tim Griffin. Tim, thank you for coming on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm telling you. Now, he comes in and sees me.
Talk food.
Well, I was going to say, he comes in and sees me every now and then wanting some fried
You
chicken.
bring no chicken?
You
Where's
know the
chicken
difference
at?
between purple hull peas and black eyed peas?
Yes, we do. You know,
Purple hull peas are what you eat when you don't have black eyed peas are what you eat when you don't have purple hulls.
Well, that's
purple
why
hulls are so much better.
I've always heard that black-eyed peas are the poor man's purple hull peas.
Well, they cost about the same, I think. But
Do you know the difference between what kind of catfish and crappie?
I'm sure it's a joke. Tell me.
No, have you ever had crappie?
Yeah.
Crappie's the best fish there is.
Crappie's great,
I have crappie. He has
but crappie's
catfish.
not at the grocery store.
That's right. You
No,
can't
that's
get it.
You can get it here all the time. I
Yeah.
got a freezer full.
Yeah, awesome.
So we've been looking forward to recording with you, and you know, Tim, what? Let's just jump right into this. What is it that an attorney general does for we the people of the state of Arkansas?
Well, first of all, we the people is not a segment of the population. That's all 3.3 million.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people, I like to say that because a lot of people say, well, we the people demand this. I'm like, well, there's a lot of other people that disagree with that. So we the people is all 3.3 million.
Got it.
So what we do really serves all 3.3 million.
Well, I would
so let
hope
me
so.
start out by saying the Attorney General is not your individual lawyer. It is illegal for the Attorney General and my staff to give private legal advice.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like I had somebody write me an email about 4 days ago, you know, through our main email address saying, hey, I've got a bankruptcy, this and that. I need some advice. Well, I can't give them advice. It's illegal to do that.
Sure.
So I represent the people of Arkansas broadly, but not individually.
Okay.
So if you have an individual legal problem, you need to get a lawyer, right?
Okay.
Because we've got about 200 lawyers or 200 people total, about 125 probably lawyers. And we tackle issues that impact you. And in some cases, we may be helping you individually, but it's because we represent the state. So the state, as an entity, is our client.
Right.
That's our client.
Okay.
Right? And there's a lot of different parts to the state. So the governor, not as an individual privately, but as an official, we represent her. We represent members of the state legislature in their official capacity, not personally.
Okay.
Right? Not
All right.
personally.
Yeah.
We represent state agencies, DFNA, Department of Commerce, whatever. We represent the state in criminal matters, for example, criminal appeals, or if we're prosecuting somebody, it would be state versus, right? So that's the first thing that you got to lay out. Just what the heck is an attorney general? You're the attorney, you're the chief law enforcement officer in this state because the statute says it. Not in every state, but in every state, you are the chief lawyer representing state government. Okay, that's ultimately what you are. You have some other aspects, but that's the primary deal. Now, if you start with you're the chief lawyer for the state government, then there's some other areas. So, yes, you're the chief law enforcement officer. You're the chief consumer advocate for individual Arkansans. You're the chief representative of the ratepayers for, doesn't mean we always get our way, but we represent the ratepayers who pay utility rates. Okay? So that's gas, primarily gas and electric.
Okay.
So there's all these different roles. Now, a lot of people, and I'll go into some of those in a minute. I literally could talk the whole program just on this one question. So a lot of people will think, well, you're a prosecutor. Well, am I? That's a good question. People think you're the chief prosecutor. I am the chief law enforcement officer. But am I the chief prosecutor? Well, not really. I may be the highest profile, only statewide prosecutor. But we have a system in this state where your prosecuting attorney is also elected. You're elected if you're a prosecuting attorney. And we have 28 of them, right? And they each have a couple of counties or however many counties they have in their district, right? And so they're going to be the primary prosecutor day to day where you live. So Will Jones, for example, is the prosecuting attorney elected for Perry and Pulaski counties. He's the prosecutor.
Okay.
So if someone calls me and goes, you ought to prosecute this person. Well, can I? Probably not. I do not have what's called original prosecutorial jurisdiction, meaning, or authority, meaning I can't prosecute any case I want. The only time I can prosecute a case as Attorney General is if one of the elected prosecuting attorneys authorizes it. Okay? Most people don't know that. So we do prosecute a lot, but there are cases that either we have an agreement with the prosecutor that we always prosecute them. That's Medicaid fraud. The federal government funds part of our Medicaid because Medicaid is partially federal. They fund part of our Medicaid fraud. It's called a MFUCU, Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Every state has one. We run that. That is always nested in the Attorney General's office. And we must have the ability to bring cases. And so we have a permanent agreement with the local prosecutor, with Will Jones or whoever that prosecutor is from year to year, to do that. Now, but beyond that, it's a case-by-case basis. So how do we get prosecutors? Or how do we get prosecutions in our office? Well, usually it's because there is one of two things, really. Either A, the prosecuting attorney who's supposed to handle it has decided they have a conflict. I'm going to make this up. But let's just say if their brother was being prosecuted.
Okay.
So let's say the police in X county investigated somebody and referred it to the prosecutor. And the prosecuting attorney looks at the case and says, I can't prosecute that. I have a legal conflict. That is my brother, or that is my wife, or that is my cousin, or that is my best friend, right? They'll say, I have a conflict. Need someone else to do it. And they'll inform the prosecutor coordinator. This is more than you need to know, but this is what people really need to know. There's a prosecutor coordinator, Bob McMahon. He's been doing it for years. He's in Little Rock. And he will receive that information from the prosecuting attorney who says, I can't do it. And he'll pick somebody. And he'll often pick us. He'll often pick us because we have prosecutors there for that purpose, right? So he'll do that. We had one of these recently in the Conrad Reynolds case. So the State Board of Elections looked at that issue and said, we believe there's a violation here of the law. We're going to refer it to, this would normally be referred to the prosecutor in that county where it occurred. But that person had said, for whatever reason, I know him or whatever, I have a conflict. And so instead of going to the prosecutor, they gave it to us.
Okay.
That's how we got that case.
Okay.
So these are cases we don't go seek them.
Mm-hmm.
They're given to us because we don't have that conflict.
Okay.
Right. So that would be one area where there's a conflict. The other one would be, and this happens a lot, we are eager to prosecute cases. We've got great prosecutors. We've got 3 of them. And we often have expertise in an area
Oh, okay.
that a local prosecutor may or may not have. For example, in the Medicaid fraud area, it's a very technical area. And so it makes sense that we always get those. The requirement that we get them aside, we also are the only one that can afford full-time nurses, full-time auditors, full-time Medicaid experts. Can get real complicated. And so it wouldn't make sense to give it to someone who's tried 1 million murder trials or, burglaries, whatever, but they've never done Medicaid.
Sure.
So it makes sense. They go, yeah, well, you do that. I could do it, but you do it. So that's one area. Internet crimes against children, which is CSAM, child sexual abuse material, which is child porn, basically. We have experts who deal with this, investigators, and we have a couple of prosecutors who did a ton of prosecuting of this in the prosecuting attorney's office before they came to us. And we just have a incredible track record of putting these people in prison for a long time. And why is that technical? Because we have forensic technology, investigative technology that can extract files off of hard drives, iPhones, things like that. A local investigative office, local police, local sheriff, probably not going to have the budget for every one of those around the state to have that. We are statewide, so we are a resource for them.
Sure.
We can invest big money that comes from settlement funds in the best technology. For a while there, we had a dog who did not sniff drugs, but Lucy the canine, she sniffed hard drives, magnetic material.
Wow.
You take in a house, they can take you to the thumb drive that's hidden, or they can take you to the hard drives that are in the stack of hard drives in the closet or whatever. So we have a lot of that ability. My understanding is one time the FBI needed help getting into an iPhone that was locked, and our people had the ability to do that.
Really?
Yeah. So, cool. I mean, a local, and there's all kind of, now with all the digital AI, all this stuff, deep fakes, right? Where some of it's real and some of it's, a lot of that stuff, the law covers it as illegal. Child porn, and even if it's deep fake stuff or whatever. So that's a lot of technical stuff. And your local people may or may not, usually are not, going to have the ability to deal with that. So it makes sense if we do all that investigating and prepare the case that you would just let us keep it to prosecute it, right? Just no reason not to. If it's a financial case involving a lot of accounting and things where you need a CPA, we're going to have the ability to pay for those people, fund those people. You're going to need them at the trial. A local person may or may not have that, right? So there are a lot of reasons why they may come to this. Now, they may say, we're going to keep it, but will you help us? Will you help fund it even? Will you help us pay for an expert? Blah, blah, blah. And we help in that way as well. So that is pretty common. Now, that's the prosecutorial side. On the criminal side, we have investigators, right, for human trafficking, for public corruption, which is when public officials are taking money or whatever, for cold case unit, organized retail crime, election integrity violation, whatever. So we have a lot of investigators. Now, with investigators, we have statewide jurisdiction. We can investigate anything that we think is a criminal violation statewide, but we can't prosecute anything without someone agreeing to that. Most people don't know that about our office. So that's important. So that's sort of the criminal law, big criminal law aspect of our office.
Let me ask you a question, because in real life, my wife has a situation back in Kansas. Okay, her family's there. The judge that oversaw the case, did not remove herself as the public thought that she should, because the person being tried, they were personal friends. Okay. So in that case, my wife's family talked to me, and I said, well, if I were you, I would go and contact the Attorney General's office in the state of Kansas and see if they couldn't step in and do something. Is that kind of under your jurisdiction?
No. Because, and it's not probably there either, because, well, first of all, I don't know the laws of Kansas.
Sure.
Don't pretend to. But generally speaking, that has to do with filing a bar complaint, appealing it to higher court, maybe filing something in the court that you can then get appealed. The AG is not the boss of a judge.
Okay.
So the AG is part of the executive. The judge is part of the judicial. And so it's a different branch of government. An AG might be able to try to intervene in a case and file something, but I'd have to know more facts. But generally, no, you can't just go to the AG and they go, get off this case. You can't do that. No.
Okay.
That's not a possibility.
But you could give them guidelines, guidance?
They would probably need to, depending on the specifics, they probably need to hire a personal attorney on that. Well, definitely wouldn't be able to help anybody in Kansas.
Well, right.
What we would have to make, we can't give them private advice on that. What we could figure out in some cases is whether the state has an interest in trying to intervene or do something, right? It gets complicated. It can get complicated, but ultimately we don't represent them. They can have an attorney, hire a private attorney to file this or that, to appeal this or that. What my decision would be is not whether I want to be on their side. My decision would be, does the state have an interest in this? That's what, and we'll try to intervene in private suits sometimes where the state has an interest. The other part of criminal law that we handle are criminal appeals. So we handle all criminal appeals for the state.
Okay.
So regardless of who prosecutes it, we are the authority or the legal team for criminal appeals.
So if you feel like there's been an injustice in our state, then you would look at it and then file an appeal?
Or someone's prosecuted and they lose and they appeal it. We're going to handle that.
Okay.
Yep. If Larry gets prosecuted and is going to jail and you appeal it, then it'll be state versus Larry, and we handle the appeal.
Okay.
We won't be on your side. We'll be on the state side, trying to keep you in jail.
Let me ask my little one question, and it's kind of in the news topic. It's about AI. Do you all have anything to do with regulating or seeing what happens with AI as far as all of the power uses and resources that's going on in the state? That is not y'all.
No, I mean, that's economic development. I don't think you mean AI so much as you like a data center.
Yeah, but all the AI stuff is just going to be using the extreme amount of power. You know, like the Google Center they're doing in West Memphis, and it just goes on and on.
Data centers use a lot. I mean, AI may or may not. I use AI on here.
Yeah,
and it doesn't use much at all.
No, it's the centers.
Well, but I think you're talking about data. It could be a data center that has nothing to do with AI.
Yeah,
just running a lot of computers. There's a lot of things that use a lot of power. I'm sure steel plants and but that has to do with if you want jobs to grow and you want to compete in the modern era, we can't stay a state. We can't just say let's be cavemen and have no power.
Yeah. I heard something about federal restrictions coming in.
Well,
and being a play with federal restrictions as far as on Arkansas.
Federal restrictions would not be on Arkansas They would be would be national. I don't know specifically what you're talking about, but look, to the extent, I think this administration and most leaders understand that we have to win the AI war.
Yeah.
This is a national security war against China. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that we're going to stick our head in the sand because it requires more power, I don't know anybody responsible saying that. I do know that it is a concern, and you have to change.
Right.
I mean, when we got the internet, we went from, that was a long time ago, but everybody in this, well, some of us in this room remember it, but we went from a time where almost no houses had computers.
Sure.
To every house had a computer. You don't think that's a substantial change? Yeah, absolutely. So I think you definitely have to make changes. I think that you'll see some of the utilities doing some things to address that. I think you'll see some communities making, demanding some action on that. And it's absolutely an important, critical issue. Number one, it's not something we can avoid. AI is going to be I use AI. I had a meeting I'm in the Army, my 30th year, and AI is the future of weaponry. We got to win this war. We got to win the chip war because the alternative is China wins.
Oh yeah,
right.
I agree.
So, in any event, some of these, but we do study. I have a senior advisor for AI that we're going to announce soon, and he doesn't look at AI generally. He looks at AI and the law, the intersection of AI and the law. And I won't get into all that, but some people use AI in practicing law, and there's a role for it, but you got to be careful. There are ethics issues, and there's all sorts of issues to untangle there. And so AI is something that we're going to have one of our guys really put a lot of time and effort into. The other thing I would mention, we do a lot of consumer protection. I mentioned that earlier. What does that mean? Well, that's an area where we may help you individually. We may actually help you get your money back. Now, we're not representing you as a lawyer. We're doing it as the consumer advocate for the state because we have an interest in making sure cheats and fraudsters and people who don't do what they said they're going to do and that sort of thing, we have an interest in them being held accountable. So, whether it's you lost money on a crypto ATM, Bitcoin ATM, whether you paid a contractor to fix your roof after a tornado and he never did, you name it. Moving company moved your stuff and you never got it. That sort of thing.
Heard of that.
So now at some point it becomes criminal, or it can become criminal. But a lot of times it's just irresponsible and, sort of the 7 on your side type stuff.
Yeah, right.
And we do a lot of that. That's local. We call that homegrown. Those are homegrown cases. So tornado hits Cave City or whatever, and somebody doesn't get their stuff repaired, and then they're trying to get their money back, and we intervene, and we're able to help them get their money back. That's what we call a homegrown consumer protection case. We also have consumer protection cases that are of international in scope. So we sued TikTok because TikTok says they don't, but their algorithms target children to try to create addiction. We also believe that they share their data with China,
Yeah.
And we sued them. We have 2 lawsuits against TikTok. I don't think some of the stuff they're doing to bring it to onshore it to the U.S. is.
They target me.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
I got it where I can hit one button and it's on its way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're looking at somebody that's absolutely addicted to TikTok right
and
there.
Instagram. Look, it's we've sued it. Look, if adults want to do that, that's fine. That's up to them. But with children, they can't misrepresent the parents what's going on. So we've got lawsuits against Meta, which is Instagram, Facebook. We've got lawsuits against Google and YouTube. We won a huge one against Johnson & Johnson for talcum powder, which some argued could be tied to ovarian cancer.
Right.
We won, I think we got about $13 million on that or something like that. So, I mean, we hold a lot of GM. I don't file any suits that are not credible, that I believe. Look, I'm not, I'm a conservative. I believe that these companies do a lot of, they provide a lot of products and they play a critical role in the market, but they're not perfect. And I make sure that if I sue them, that they've earned it.
I've used your department before. I used it last month. I won't go into any names, but I had a deal where I was buying a truck and they sold me a brand new truck.
Oh, is that the one?
The brand new truck. Yeah. It was used. And it was my truck.
And we got all your money back. Is that the one?
Hey, it came down to, they said, listen, we're gonna give you a new truck like you requested, but the only problem is instead of a 2025, it's going to be a 2026.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Yeah. I knew about.
You probably heard.
I didn't know
hear
it was
about
you.
that.
I knew there was. I think it came through me, and I sent it up to somebody.
Well, I sent them. I talked to them, and they said no, that we can.
We do that all the time. We do that all the time.
So it works.
So we've got a lot of these cases. We got a case against GM right now, and I enjoy GM products when they're running,
I talked to a guy at a dealership today that worked on your truck a week or two ago because I'm taking my wife's car
I don't have a GM truck.
To the body shop.
Oh, must have been one of the official.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the official guys.
Because I told him I was recording with you today, and he goes, "Oh, we just took care of his truck,
that's
or
good.
Tahoe or what?"
Oh yeah, probably Tahoe.
Yeah.
Well, in any event, so the GM suit, look, we're suing them because they deserve to be sued. So what they were doing is taking GStar data. You know what GStar is?
Right.
They're taking GStar data, and every GM has GStar data, whether you're subscribing or not. So if you're not subscribing, you can't communicate with them and use their services. But they're still collecting your data.
Yeah, right.
They don't turn that off.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's consistent with the agreement. But they were taking it and selling it to insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they weren't just selling it that Larry has a Yukon or Larry drove today.
Yeah.
What data's in there? What's the data you think? It's braking, acceleration, top speed, all of that data. It's in it. If you have 360 on your phone,
right,
or if you have that Save app where you consent to State Farm or whatever to put there, you consent to that, and it measures how safe you are. Well, what GM did is they took all that OnStar data, and they were just routinely selling it to insurance companies. All of it.
Wow.
Not just whether you are a GM owner. And the insurance companies were denying people insurance based on that data, or raising rates based on that data.
Yep.
But here's the thing. GM never told anybody that they were taking it and selling it. And they never, in any of that small print you sign on, you never consent to selling it.
Mm-hmm.
They made a big boo-boo. They didn't have the right to do that. And that was a misuse of that data under the ADTPA, the Arkansas Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and we sued them, and we're going to win that case.
It happened to my brother.
Big time.
On his truck.
Big
really?
Time.
Yep.
We got 1 minute.
I will toss one thing
and
at
I'm going
you.
to come back and see y'all again.
Okay.
We can do this. I mean, as long as I'm in office, I've got, Lord willing, I've got at least 5 years because I'm up for re-election this year. I don't have a Democrat or Republican who filed. So,
well, we're fans of yours.
Well,
yeah.
And,
even if you're not, I'll come talk to you because So
let me toss one thing
I
out here
represent
for
everybody.
You. Okay. Let me toss this out.
Toss it. I might toss it back.
Well, you might. I'm good for a good argument. I wish you'd go after Google.
I've already sued them.
You know, here's the thing. Here's my little.
Google YouTube. He missed that, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh well, I'm talking about Chrome in particular.
Yep.
Why is it that the government allows Chrome to pay companies to make their website work only on Chrome, and my little Safari on my Apple will not work? Mm-hmm. So therefore, I'm forced to download Chrome in order to operate. And see,
that's an antitrust suit. I'm not going to I'm not going to comment on this in detail. I'm just going to say I'm aware of that, and I'm aware of it.
Okay. Well,
yeah, but we have suits already against Google.
Okay.
Send me something on that as a reminder. I'm going to check some.
All right, so we'll land this plane.
Let's land this plane.
Yeah, Randy, we got a promise that he said he'll come back.
If you start bringing some of your Bobby's Country cooking here, I'll come back a lot.
You want some fried crappie? You want some crappie?
Next time, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do crappie for lunch. Fresh fried crappie. Crappie's a whole lot better than catfish.
Dude, I grew up in Magnolia. You're preaching to the choir. I'm probably older than you.
You know, we had it last night.
Dude, my grandma had a garden that blow your mind. I used to shell those purple holes so much my fingers were purple. She was watching Days of Our Lives and The Doctors, which was an old soap opera in the 70s, and she'd crunch on ice and she'd shell those peas, and I'd go up in that front room in Magnolia in the hot summers, and they'd have those window units going brrrr, and there was ice coming off the ceiling, and I'd get up in there and I'd take a nap, and it was so awesome.
So you're from Magnolia?
Well, I'm from Magnolia. Now the 70s in Magnolia, I was coming out from North Carolina, and where I was born, and was we were visiting my grandmother. But yeah, I grew up in Magnolia. Now moved to Magnolia in '80.
The last time you were in Bobby's, I think you were getting a to-go lunch for your mother for her birthday.
Yes, I was.
And that's when I said, "Hey Tim, let's
that, man.
Let's get you on the podcast."
I wish you were closer to downtown.
Yeah. Well, hey folks, thank you for first of all, Tim, thank you for coming and being a guest of ours. It's been a lot of fun, and we will take advantage of having you come back, and we'll feed you crappie or fried chicken or something. And
as long as it's ethically fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure it is. You're not a lobbyist.
No,
but
I'm not.
I tell you, I think that. I really believe it's better to do more and dig deeper than do less at a top level, because so much of this stuff is not as it seems. It won't fit on a bumper sticker.
Right.
And social media generally doesn't do complicated topics justice.
Right.
They're made for the sort of brain toot. You just sort of throw it up there and it's a few words and you really can't explain. And so what we lack is an in-depth, thoughtful medium, and podcasts allow for that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I'm not going to apologize for taking as much time as I did on what we talked about, because now you understand, you got what everybody generally needs to know about the criminal work we do, whether it be appeals, investigations, or prosecutions, the fact that we can't just prosecute anybody we want, and the consumer part, and there's a whole bunch more we do, but those are some key things, and we could talk about some of the others later.
I have a feeling that you and I would be eye to eye on social media. My daughter is a counselor out of Dallas, and she hates social media.
Yeah.
Because she just says it's an addiction
that
has changed lives for the worse.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and quote her and put words in her mouth, but that's kind of, I think you and I would be on the same page. So
yeah, I mean,
if
it's
you'll
a
come
tool,
back sometime,
right?
we'd love for you to come back and talk about that.
It's a tool. It's a hammer. If it's misused,
okay.
Murders occur with hammers.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean a hammer's bad per se. Now, social media is unlike a hammer. Social media often, as we've talked about, is made to do harm in terms of addiction.
Yeah.
The algorithms.
You're right.
So it's not exactly a neutral tool.
Yeah.
You got to handle with care.
Yes. I totally agree.
And you got to put it down. I even set my own limit. So after 15 minutes in a day, it'll say, hey, you've reached your limit.
Yeah.
Now, all I got to do is push a button and keep going. But it tells me, hey, dude, you thought it was a minute, but it's been 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And, what I like the most about social media is food, cooking, recipes.
Yep.
Keeping up with athletics some, but I really like the food component, history. So there's some good stuff on it, but it will, particularly on the scrolling, it will feed you precisely what your brain's looking for in terms of dopamine hits.
Some of my favorite people that I follow is one of them, Randy, is Tim Griffin.
Oh, is
I
that
follow
right?
him over on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
I get all of his posts. I watch him. Was that good?
Cool.
That was good. Well, everything we post, we call it a lift.
Yeah.
So we post it on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, what used to be Twitter.
Yep. Do more on X.
We
Yep.
do, yeah, we do there. Everything goes on the same.
Okay.
We do YouTube, and are we Truth? We put stuff on Truth.
Yeah.
So we put them on all of those.
I can't get traction on Truth for some reason.
I've never been on Truth. I just see. Yeah. I know we put on Truth.
Right.
I generally don't go. I use YouTube for research. Like looking up a video. I don't just go there. I don't just go to YouTube and say what can I watch?
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
I used to use X to see what was hopping in the news, but people are so nasty.
Oh, yeah.
I just, whatever.
Yeah.
I got rid of my personal Facebook. I got rid of personal everything except for the only personal I kept was X.
Yeah.
And it's I try to do a Bible verse every day. Usually I don't forget. I just shoot it out. I read it, then I share it, and I don't pick it. I never even open X. I just use it to shoot it out. But when I want to see what people are saying about a Razorback game we lost or something, I'll pull up X and start looking at the chat.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get much chatting on Instagram, for example. So there's a use for it. I never go on Facebook. I got rid of my personal Facebook. We do post stuff on Facebook. I can't stand Facebook.
I post on it, but I don't sit around and read it. I don't care what you had for lunch or dinner.
I will say this. It's unbelievable that if your drunk uncle posts something on Facebook, you'll believe it before you'll believe something that's credible.
Right.
I don't have to worry about it. They kick me off.
Yeah, well,
they kick me off Facebook.
Hey, folks.
I can't stand it.
We're going to land this plane. Tim's got to get running to another appointment. Tim, thanks for coming in. Yeah. And be sure and tell all your friends about our channel and come back and see us next episode. Have a great day.
Appreciate you. Yeah, we'll do some food.
Thank you, buddy.